Thank you very much for the introduction and also amazing talk by Pauline. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So thank you very much about that. I'm a big fan now. I didn't know about this stuff. I will talk about when you think there is no time for learning or coding. And my name is Eleftheria. I am a front-end developer and content creator. You can find me on my social media or email, YouTube, whatever suits you best. I do use Twitter more, but yeah, feel free to find me anywhere. And we will talk about my coding journey, how I started, how I got into tech. The second part will be tips and techniques of habit formation. So this is when we will talk about time, how to find the time to do the things that you really love. And the third part, which is going to be a very short one, is going to be about dealing with frustration and stress, because we've all been there. We all had some tough situations. Let's find how we can proceed. Okay, now my coding journey. I graduated from a polytechnical university. My major is in informatics and telecommunications of engineering. When I graduated, I was like very happy, very excited, but I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do next. So after the excitement, it comes another feeling, the feeling of being lost, because although I was happy with my studies, I decided to do an internship. I am originally from Greece, so I decided to do that internship in the Netherlands. It was about front-end development, so I was like very happy with that as well, but I didn't know what to do after I was done with that internship. I knew again that I need to find a real job, because so far I hadn't done like any real job, but I wasn't sure how I would do that, how I would succeed in that field. So the next thing that I knew was that I started reading a little bit. I was reading, I mean, like technical blogs and stuff like that. And every morning I used to read from the Medium platform. Back then, Medium was like in its best. Anyway, so I found an article called 100 Days of Code and the Benefits of It. And it was written by the creator of a challenge called 100 Days of Code. It was written by Alexander Calloway. And in this challenge, he was talking about how you can start and how you can practice coding every day, and also how you can build a portfolio and maybe eventually even land a job. That was exactly what I was missing. Although I was working in a nice company, in a nice startup company, I knew that I really didn't have all the skills in order to land a job. I knew that I didn't have a portfolio. I didn't have like any network. I didn't have many friends in that field as well. So I was feeling lost. I knew what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure how to achieve it. So that challenge actually really helped me. The next thing I knew was challenge accepted. Now in that challenge, I had to code for 1 hour every day for 100 days. And eventually that's how I would build also a portfolio, and I will build up my skills. I would also share everything on GitHub. That was also something great, because back then I didn't know what exactly GitHub is or how I could use it. And the third part that I should do for this challenge was also to go in Twitter, use the hashtag of 100 Days of Code, and encourage other people either to take part in or give them feedback on their project, ask feedback for my own projects and stuff like that. At first, I was very shy. I was not using Twitter, so it was also the first time that I would go into Twitter and I would start chatting with people. It was a new experience for me, but eventually it only led to great things and great opportunities. More about that in a bit. Okay, now a lot of people in Twitter started to notice me and ask, okay, but what do you code? Why do you code these things? Like, how do you find what to code? Or other questions like, I want to start coding too, but I don't know what to do. For me, there are many options. There are many sources to learn, and you can find the inspiration very easily online. So there are online educational platforms, and here I mean things such as Udemy, Udacity, FreeCodeCamp, Coursera. There are so many things, and a lot of them are free. There is obviously YouTube, there are online communities, and here I mean several things such as Discord servers, Slack channels, even like Stack Overflow. There are other coding challenges, not only, as I mentioned, the 100 days of code, but other challenges like the daily UI, or 50 projects, I don't remember exactly the name, that they give you either a video or some articles to read or other sources for you to learn. And of course, there are magazines and books that you can find pretty much everything there. From the other hand, if you're just looking for inspiration, follow bloggers, follow your favorite tech people on Twitter, on other social media, follow their blogs, see what they are up to, and of course, go to meetups and conferences, which I'm pretty sure you already do that since you are here. And I hope after the pandemic, you will continue to do that as well. Now, for what I learned, my first goal, because now things have changed a bit, but my first goal was to be a front-end developer. So I had to learn the basics. For me, the basics were HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, just these three things. And when I was quite good with that, I want to continue to learn also something new, maybe a framework or a library. I also really wanted to learn Git and GitHub, again, because I could see so many other people using it, but I didn't know how to do that. And the same goes for the Chrome developer tools, because even in my company, the company that I was internshiping, I could see all the developers using this stuff. So it was very easy for me just to go to someone and ask for help. So that was also something that I had in my mind. So some things that I built in order to reach my goal. The first thing that I did was to learn HTML and CSS. I knew some stuff due to my internship, due to the university, but I knew that my skills were not that good in order to be hireable. So that was my issue. I took part in another challenge called Daily CSS Images. And in this challenge, for 50 days, I would code something every day using only HTML and CSS. So the things that you see here, all those images, are actually built only with these two technologies, nothing else. So the first part was done. The second part was to learn JavaScript. I enrolled in FreeCodeCamp, and they have like an amazing JavaScript part. If you're not familiar with FreeCodeCamp, I suggest you to check it out. It has so many great things. Anyway, I built some games there, like the tic-tac-toe game, the Simon Says game, and then I eventually wanted to learn a framework, and I went with AngularJS. Now I know that this is not the best decision. And for those of you who don't know that, like AngularJS, I think it has been like deprecated, so not many people use that. But that was a decision like for many years ago. So yeah, let's say that that was not the best decision for a framework. The next thing that I did was to learn a data visualization library, and that was D3GS. That was actually a pretty good decision because it led me to my first freelancing jobs as a data visualization developer. So that was definitely some of the highlights of my learning journey. Also, I took part in another challenge called Daily UI. In this challenge, my focus was more on the design this time and not so much on coding. And as I went through in my career, I realized that I don't want to do only front-end development, but I also want to work as a designer. So that's something that I also did. Now, I think that I mentioned quite a lot of challenges. I don't know, I'm a little bit junky as challenge is concerned. So some of the things that I did was 100 days of code, JavaScript 30, which comes from Westboss, daily CSS images, and like more stuff, 301 days of code, 30 days, 30 sites, and daily UI, which was like, I think the last one that I did. If you look on the dates, like the started dates, for example, we have the daily CSS images, which is the 3rd. It's on 14th of February, which is the Valentine's Day, but I guess I didn't have anything better to do. That's hashtag developers live. If you check the first one, which is the 100 days of code, it's actually the last day of 2016, which again, hashtag developers live. It was like New Year's Eve, and I guess I didn't have anything else to do. Okay, let's move on. Now, as for what inspires me and what motivates me, because again, I got a lot of questions on that subject as well, especially when I did all these challenges. I think that inspiration and motivation are more like internally things. So what works for me, what gives me motive, maybe it will not work for you at all, and the other way around. For me, what drives me is always the need of getting better and better and better. And I really want to be good on the things that I do. I don't like mediocrity. From the other hand, I'm not also perfectionist, but this is like a conversation for another time. For me, this is something that works. Maybe for you, it's something completely different. Maybe you want a promotion, so you need to get some skills. Maybe you need, maybe you have a family, so you need more money, so you need to find a second job, so again you need more skills. Motivation can be something different for all of us, and one thing is motivation and another thing is determination, because motivation will eventually fade, but being determined to achieve something, to do something, it will not fail you. Now, what did I gain from doing all these challenges? I learned to be more optimistic and grateful for the things that I have accomplished and for the people I have near me. Because let's say they needed to have a lot of patience with me some days. I definitely got better at time management. I met a lot of people, most of them like online. And I also traveled a lot, which is another passion of mine. And I know that these two things, like being a developer and traveling, maybe it doesn't go so much, or maybe you cannot see the connection. But trust me, there is a big connection. For example, you can be a freelancer and go to different places all over the world. Maybe you could go to conferences all over the world and stuff like that. Again, this could be like a totally separate conversation, as I am really passionate about traveling as well. All right, I think that was it for my journey. And now let's move on the second part, which is tips and techniques of habit formation. Before we get started with that, I will also like to share a quote that I really like. And it's the one that says, "I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you it's going to be worth it." When you devote all this time, all of your energy on building something, on doing something about yourself, about your future, about your career, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. You will not go out to see your friends. Maybe you will miss a party, you will miss something else. So it's not easy. Know that, understand that, and then try to move on. Now, to the main part, how to form habits and why habits are so important. Everyone experiences resistance, and this is the first thing that we have to realize. All of us will experience resistance. Resistance is always there, and it always gets you. Try to do something good, like dare to do something good, dare to have like a healthy lifestyle, and resistance will be always there. There are some ways that we can defeat that, so we will talk that in a bit as well. One of the things that we could do is setting limits. For example, don't spread your efforts around. Focus on one thing at a time. Don't multitask. I hear so many people saying that they are multitasking and they are good at multitasking, but no, like a lot of research has been done, and as humans, we cannot multitask. Especially, they found that women are a little bit better at multitasking, but again, if we could just do one thing at a time, that would save us time in the future. Try for consistency over volume. If you have like a big project, don't say, oh, it's okay, I will do that over the weekend. No, work a little bit every day, maybe if it's just for 30 minutes or 1 hour, stick to that. And then eventually in the weekend, you can do like the last part, but don't left things for the last minute. And also don't think that you can do everything in just one day. Usually it takes time. And it's better to have just a little free time rather than too much. I know that this sounds a little bit weird, but again, if you have like a lot of time, you will say, okay, I'm going to do that later. I'm going to do that later. And eventually you don't really do it. Like, am I right? I don't know, but this is at least how I work. And I know that also many people feel the same way. Now, something else that you could do is to track your progress visually. This is again something that it's really helpful. This is a photo like of mine when I was doing the challenge of 100 days of code. So my GitHub was looking something like that. I feel quite proud of that. So it was something that I was saying, okay, I want this green tile. I want this green tile every day. So that's how our mind works. We don't want to break the chain. Something else, and I know that you already know that, is keeping a log, a calendar, a to-do list, a notebook, like you can call it however you like, and you can use whatever tool you like. The point is one, like keep your to-do list. It will help you being better at time management, in organizing your things way better. And again, I was one of those people that I didn't use a to-do list. And when I started using a to-do list, I realized how many things I can do in a day. I learned to track my time better, to realize where I should put my energy and all these things. So I know that this is something that you really hear from everyone, but if you don't do it, please start doing it. It will really, really help you in your daily life. And you shouldn't only track daily things, but also you could track your long-term goals and see how you can achieve those things as well. Now, how to form habits and some examples. Stay away from toxic environments, like no matter what. For example, again, if you're dieting, try to keep cookies away, try to keep all the candies away, go to the grocery shop and buy some healthy alternatives. If you're going to get distracted, from the other hand, from your phone, from notifications, from stuff like that, again, block everything. You don't really need that. Like, you can have 1 or 2 hours per day and focus only on yourself. You don't need your phone. You don't need all those notifications. As soon as you're done with your work, then yes, you can go back on the other things, on social media, on YouTube, on Netflix, on everything. But at first, focus on you and on the things that you want to achieve. Another idea is to try to make the unwanted behavior difficult and the behavior that you want easy to be performed. For example, if you want to start up coding, like have your editor set up, have your softwares updated, have your passwords like somewhere, so you will not forget them. As I said, block all the notifications, log out of certain activities or services if you don't want to receive emails from them. Just do it, and you will see that you actually lost anything by not checking your phone so often. Oops, we check that. Okay, So now as for habits, we have a loop. It's like a circle. It's a trigger, the routine, and the reward. The trigger is the cue, something that every time you will see that and you will know that you have to start doing something. So then it comes the routine, and the routine is actually the habit. For example, every time that it will be 8 o'clock in the morning, I know, because this is my cue, that I will read for 1 hour. And this is my routine, that I will read for this 1 hour. And maybe in this routine, I will do also specific stuff, like taking away my phone, or drinking a coffee, or having my breakfast. And then in the end, I will have my reward. Now the reward, it depends. It can be something physically or not. Maybe if I read or code and I'm happy with the result, I can eat a donut after my coding session. Other times I can have something else. You don't always have to have a reward. Maybe after a lot of sessions, like after 1 or 2 weeks, you can have something that you really wanted, like a tech stuff or an item, a product, I don't know, something like that. Again, this is something personal and something that works for me. It may won't work for you, and the opposite way around. Some things that they can help you are the bright line rules and also the keystone habits. Get from something general to something more specific, as well as the more you define your goals and what you want to achieve, the easiest is going to be for you to actually achieve it and make it work for you. The keystone habit says that the development of one good habit can lead to multiple good habits. And again, with the example that I used earlier, if you have started dieting and if you have be a little bit more careful about what you're eating, then maybe you will also start to work out, then maybe you will start to sleep better, and all this stuff leads to better and better habits. Usually the first thing is the tough one, but if you pass this first stage, the difficult first stage, then you can move on more easily. And of course, we want to make all those habits like easy for us to be maintainable. A lot of people have another issue. They feel that they don't have a lot of time. I know, right? We all have said that I don't have time to do that, or you cancel things and stuff like that. Be ruthless with what you want to achieve. Be ruthless with what you want to do. Be very specific about the things that you want to do and track everything so it's easier for you to really find what you have to do in order to achieve those goals. You can try to do two opposite things at the same time if you want to learn a lot of things at least. This will not work if you want to learn two similar things. So if you want to learn two similar coding languages, then don't do that. But if you want to do like two separate things, you can try code and yoga, or code and cooking, or code and music. This will help your mind. And there are also some time concepts that they probably can help you. One of those concepts is the Pomodoro technique. Maybe you are already familiar with that. You basically set up a timer for 20 or 25 minutes and you go hard for 20, 25 minutes. And then you only take a short break, maybe 5 minutes or so. And then you go again, 20, 25 minutes, and you keep repeating that cycle. We also have the Pareto's principle. So this is something else. It has to do more with the input and the output of your work. They say that 80% of your output comes from 20% of your input. If you realize that, it will help you again to manage better your time, because you will know how you have your output and what you should do, how you can work on your input in order to maximize your output. I think this percentage is quite big, so we could all focus on that and how we can increase it. I will start talking a little bit faster because I think that I'm a bit out. I hate that. Consistency over quantity. Part of courage is simply consistency. If you see something that works, keep doing it. And some unfamiliar opinions about time management is keeping a not to-do list. So keep a list on the shouldn't do. I shouldn't watch Netflix for more than 2 hours. I shouldn't eat candies. I don't know, whatever you don't want to do. Keep a not to-do list and have that always in front of you so you won't miss it. Analyze your day, which activities do not worth your time. Trust me, we all have 24 hours, but we use these 24 hours in a different way. And if you don't have something, you can always imitate it. I will pass this slide as we don't have a lot of time, and let's get to the third part. I promise it will be quickly, dealing with frustration and stress. I also know that we've all been there, that we all had like difficult situations. I will start with a quote that I again really like. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, not the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. And I will leave it there. Dealing with colleagues, dealing with work, it can be tough. If you have problems at work, like see if you are the only one, try to talk with someone, maybe try to find ex-colleagues through LinkedIn, try to talk to managers or to HR, but leave toxic places at any cost. Your mental health is the first thing that you should care. Also, another problem is that sometimes people think they are not smart enough, like imposter syndrome. Learn how other people started their careers. It may help you. And I just told you how I started mine. Know that coding is hard, and if it was easy, everyone would do it. Don't compare yourself to others. Think about how you find your first job. Did you find your first job because you were actually like the king of tech? Or maybe because you had like other good qualities, like you had good communication qualities, you had humor. I don't know, maybe something hated your manager and really wanted to hire you. Don't judge yourself too hard. It's okay to fail, and it's okay to change your goals. From time to time, take a break. It's better to loosen up than to drop. And always remember that we all stuck, and don't punish yourself too hard. Remember to take care of yourself, to eat, to work out, to take showers, and to sleep. So that's it for me, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this session. Thank you very, very much. Feel free to find me on social media. And yeah, that was for me.
That was really good. Thank you. So I'll ask you a question before handing over to Megan. So the first question we had was, how do you prioritize what to learn first?
I used to have like this very big goal of being a front-end developer. So I knew that in order to do that, I had to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But other than that, I still have many things that I want to learn. So I have a big list in Trello, and I will pick something from there according to my current needs.
Awesome. And a question from Natalie. How did you find your first developer job?
The first freelancing job that I found was because, as I said, I was doing the data visualization things, and I was learning data visualization. Let me find that. I will be quick, I promise. Okay, I was doing data visualization things, and as I was learning, I was uploading everything on YouTube as well. So I was learning how I was showing to other people through YouTube how I managed to do that, this or that. And another company found me through YouTube, and they said that, hey, we have a couple of projects for you. Do you want to work with us? And I said, yeah, why not? Of course, I explained them that I didn't have like any experience and I was learning, but they didn't have an issue and they just took me. So A quick tip again here is to move your projects on YouTube as well and start showing to people what you're doing. It may lead to a job.